Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday, June 15th, 615 Day, also known as Father's Day. We're happy to have you for another episode of the Primetime program. We hope you guys are having a great Father's Day. If you are a dad, happy Father's Day to you. If you're a grandparent, obviously, happy Father's Day to you as well. If you are somebody who is just appreciating dad today, I hope you gave him a fantastic day and afternoon and whatever you guys did, or maybe just let him nap on the couch. And if you're somebody who's missing dad today, well, then I hope you were able to at least be around family and friends and enjoy memories and things like that. So we are going to talk about Cam Ward and him being inspired, drawing inspiration from his father and the dedication that he showed to help Cam Ward get to this point. We're going to do an abbreviated Father's Day version of Primetime, and this article just so happened to drop from our good friend and colleague, Teron Davenport of ESPN, where he talked to Cam about his dad and the importance of his parents in his sports career. Wrote a really nice piece for ESPN.com. Cam was also asked about this on the final day of mandatory minicamp at just, ahead of the Father's Day weekend. And a lot of people have stories like this, as a matter of fact. So we're going to talk about Cam's story. We're going to ask you guys what your biggest moment of, how did exactly we phrase the question earlier today? What's the biggest sacrifice you or your parents made for you to play sports? If you were somebody that I assume that most of us in here have played sports at some level, but maybe you haven't, and that's okay. If you don't have a story, that's all right. But if you do have a story, those in as concise a way as the chat will allow, I thought it'd be cool to kind of share some of those, because I do think a lot of people have stories about their parents giving them the opportunity to play sports at their own detriment's the wrong word, but just at their own inconvenience, right? To support a kid's dream, no matter how far a kid might take that dream in sports, because a lot of people grow up to some extent wanting or striving to be a professional athlete, and very, very few of them make it for a variety of different reasons. But I do think those stories are out there, and we can talk about some of those on this Father's Day. We'll get to your favorite dads in sports. I've got a good one. I think most of you will be able to come up with them, whether they're coaches, whether they're players, whether they're people in sports, whether it's Robert's daddy, Jerry Jones, if you're familiar with the radio show, whomever, whichever sports dad is your favorite. We'll get to those at the end of the show on this Sunday night. Share the show around Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, all the different places where you guys are hanging out, like Andrew Jones. I see on Facebook Live. We got Kendall on YouTube. I see Josh, Derek, Steven, all manner of good people hanging out here with us. Also, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I had it pointed out to me the other day how gray I'm going. I blame it mostly on Robert. So I would like some mental health support when it comes to dealing with the people that I work with around here. But, I don't know what the protocol is for somebody who needs mental health relief during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, when the other men in their lives are the ones causing them these great mental health problems. But we're not going to hyper focus on that tonight. We're going to talk about Cam Ward and his dad's story on ESPN. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday night. Tonight is Sunday. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud as always to be presented to you by the wonderful people at Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. I'm a customer. You can be too if you haven't been before. Employee pricing for everyone right now at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com, and by TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, where you get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMath Fitness goes above and beyond to help you achieve your fitness goals. So, speaking of going above and beyond to help you achieve your goals, that's kind of the theme of tonight's show, where Cam Ward spoke to Teron Davenport. Obviously, Cam spoke in media availability this week, but he was also, I guess, Teron was working on a side piece. I guess Teron had done some digging as to and maybe you don't have to do too much digging to understand the importance of somebody's parents in their lives. But I think Cam and his father, they have a very publicly great relationship, and his mother as well. But his parents and his relationship and his public appreciation for them at every step of the way to help him achieve his goal, which, has just started of being an NFL player, but he's there, right? He's the consensus number one overall pick. And it was not the conventional road. We've talked about Cam Ward, how he got here and how it's different from your average number one overall pick quarterback. If average in the word number one overall pick can be used in the same sentence. So the question I'm going to ask you is this: your Two Rivers Ford take on this Sunday evening, on this Father's Day. What's the biggest sacrifice you or your parents made for you to play sports, whatever level it was, whether you topped out in Pee Wee leagues, whether you were somebody who made it to Cub and potentially high school, maybe you played college football, whatever level of college football you played, football, basketball, volleyball, baseball, whatever the case may be. I know some of you have athletics in your background, and I would venture, I guess, to say most of you, if you're sports fans, but you don't have to play sports to like sports. Either way, if you have a story like that or a brief synopsis of a sacrifice that you made or your parents made so that you could play sports, you can leave that in the chat for us at your Two Rivers Ford Take. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. Employee pricing for everyone, whether that's you, whether that's your dad, whether that's your grandpa, or anyone else in your life. Two Rivers Ford has been in business for over 4 decades, helping customers like you make the car buying process fast, easy, and more fun. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com for more details. So, Cam Ward and the piece in ESPN.com. I'm just going to read directly from it, and we can cut it off at a certain point. Obviously, I'm not going to read you the entire article. It's got some decent length to it, but it's a good deep dive into the relationship and how Cam's family has helped support him through this process. Calvin is his father in particular, and I think that they share a pretty unique bond. So the smile on Cam Ward's face said it all when asked what he wanted to get his dad, Calvin, for Father's Day. And this is a quote from Cam: "Shopping for Father's Day, that's the hardest shopping to do. I mean, what do you get for someone who already has everything? I don't know what I'm going to get him because he ain't really asked for shit." And that's a direct quote from Cam Ward. So he's already paid to have his parents' house built last year when he was in college with some NIL money. He has found ways to give back to his parents, but I think a lot of people in life can relate to not being able to get your parents something that they need because your parents are more equipped to deal with things in day-to-day life than you are, and they probably have everything that they need at this point. But, it's the thought that counts more than anything. Apparently, he gave his dad an ATV for Christmas a year ago when him and his mom had gotten him a mini NASCAR racetrack. So apparently they're buying dad all kinds of fun toys because he wants to find ways to give back to his family in particular. So they've got a family of 5, and the story goes on to detail the trips and the bonding that the family would have when they would load up the SUV. They'd go to all various sports camps, going to camps at IMG Academy, which is a famous athlete prep school, for lack of a better term. I guess that would be the best athlete. I'm not really sure. Farm system. I don't want to call it a farm system. That feels, I don't know, a bit too close to livestock. But you get my meaning. A lot of these academies exist that are for student athletes who do need to get an education, but whose primary focus is on trying to be a professional athlete. J.C. Latham is one of the most recent examples of a player who came up through high school football and his grade school situation and ended up going to IMG Academy for a period of time, and with a focus on being a professional athlete at the highest level. So all the different bonding and the trips that they took across Cam Ward's career, and it started when he was in 4th grade, and he's going along for rides with his sisters, Aliyah and Chantel, who are basketball players. Apparently all of the different sports that Cam Ward played, basketball, football, baseball, apparently a little bit of golf included in there. He's there to support his kids, whatever their sports, the whole way through. And he goes out of his way to make sure that they can have as many opportunities to realize that dream and chase the joy that comes from sports. And also they seem to be highly competitive individuals. If you've seen the things about like Cam Ward playing ping pong in the locker room with Calvin Ridley and getting so mad that he can't beat Calvin Ridley that he breaks the paddle and he walks off because he doesn't like to lose and things like that. I'm sure a lot of that is instilled in his parents. And I'm sure to some extent, if you're a family of five that way and you're somebody who's got legit potential to go on and be a professional athlete or to try and aspire to that, and your parents understand the level of seriousness and dedication that it takes and they convey that seriousness to you, I'm sure a handful of people have had those kind of conversations, or at least those, all right, let's get serious, or are you serious about doing this, because it's going to be intense. You're going to miss out on a lot of life events. You're not going to be able to do what normal kids do if you want to commit to this thing. And I imagine that's a tough conversation to have with a fourth grader in particular, but that's apparently, it plays into who Cam Ward and the Ward family and that dynamic with them and athletics, how that all ties in together. So it's just a lot of good detail about all the different lengths that Calvin and Patrice, his mom, went to make sure that he would have every opportunity to play sports. I'd really recommend it. Teron did a great job, as is usually the case. But this was Cam Ward talking about his father at the end of his mandatory minicamp availability on Thursday.
Mom and Dad were here. You keep talking about your upbringing. How special is that to have here at practice?
It's special. If they could, they'll try to be at every practice. But, those two, they never miss a game. They always been there for me. And, it's just honor because not a lot of kids get to have both of their parents in their life at their age. And so, I'm blessed. And so every time, I step on the field, I just remember everything, money, financially, time-wise, that they spent, to get me to this point. I've been watching them ever since he was.
So then Tyler Lockett's media availability begins. But, Cam has talked about that a lot of different times. That just happened to be the most recent time. Somebody's asking if Cam Ward is a father. Does he have kids? I don't believe so. I don't know that. I don't think so. Wouldn't be uncommon, but not as far as I know. At least that's not a dynamic that has been public anyway. I don't want to speak definitively about it either way. I'm not sure. So, who's your favorite dad in sports? You can pick from a lot of different people. I think a lot of people, when they think of dads in sports, they might think of TV dads. They may think of, father-son dynamics in coaching. They may think of father-son athlete dynamics, right? Whether it's, father-daughter, depending on which sport you're talking about in particular, and especially as we've started to get older, right? And you start to see athletes, men or women that you saw competing when they were at their peak, and now they've aged out, had a family, their kids are coming of age to start playing or at least competing in college and potentially pro sports. It's really cool to see. I'm probably going to go a different direction with it. Deion Sanders is famously a sports dad in the news. Those are interesting dynamics, right? They're polarizing, I think, a lot of times. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're more wholesome than that. But I do think that, especially when you talk LeBron and Bronny, is an interesting dynamic, right? There's all different ways that you can go with this question, even if you're thinking more on a superficial level. So who's your favorite sports dad? We'll talk about it in a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, where you go to get the best workout in Middle Tennessee. It's awesome. I love it, especially this time of year. They tailor a workout program for me in particular so that I can achieve my goals. And if you want to do it on a personal training basis like I do, you can do that. If you want to just work out when you want to work out, how you want to work out, they have memberships that will offer you access to their top-notch facility, conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch. TrueMath Fitness, your first workout is free. They have awesome group fitness classes. Sometimes I think people can get intimidated by those if that's not something you're used to doing on a regular basis. I was somebody who had a hard time with, all right, I don't work out like this. Am I going to be able to keep up? Am I going to know how to, do all the different transitions? Whatever the case may be, they make it so simple. The coaching staff is awesome. TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. All right. So who's your favorite sports dad? Why is mine LeVar Ball?
Did you ever think that you would be on CNN discussing geopolitics and the President of the United States?
Never in my wildest dreams.
Why would you push back on the president?
You can open your eyes and see what's going on. I'm not saying nothing to the president. I'm not just saying thank you to anybody for nothing. I'm just saying I had some things done. I talked to some people that did some other things too.
Who?
And this is, like I said, people trying to, it doesn't matter.
Sure it
doesn't,
does.
I mean, he said he got him out of jail, right? He said, hey, you heard what he tweeted. He tweeted, because he's mad at me, I should have left that in jail. First of all, they wasn't in jail. They was in a hotel. Now, how'd they get to the hotel on bail?
Did you make that happen?
Somebody had to do something.
Did you do it?
I'm just telling you, somebody had to do it.
Did
he do it?
I'm asking you, did you do it?
I'm asking you. Did he do it?
He says he helped get them out of China.
Okay, if he paid for the money to put up whatever we needed to do, then I would say thank you. Did he do that?
So that's the bar? If he doesn't put up bail for the boys, then he doesn't. I think you've made this more difficult than you needed to, and you wound up provoking the President of the United States.
You know what? You making this more difficult. You know, LeVar didn't say thank you to the President.
You didn't.
So that makes me a bad person?
It's because of what you said, and it's because you won't say thank you. Hey, thanks. Your son said thank you. The other guy said thank you, so you say thanks. Thanks for helping me.
I'm not the other guys, though. I'm not the other guys. I'm doing something else. I'm not the other guys.
What do you see? I agree with you. You're not the other guys. I think you are
trying
doing
to round
something
up, and
no,
that's
I
okay.
think you
that's
are.
part of your job.
I think
but you know, I don't get easily tussled like that.
I think you are. I think you're very clever. I see your big smile on your face.
Are you going to say thank you to me?
I'm going to say thank you at the end of this interview. I will thank you. I guarantee it.
No. Are you going to say thank me now?
I guarantee it. You know why?
Are you going to thank me now?
You know why?
Are you going to thank me now?
Not yet. You haven't earned it yet.
Why are you going to thank me?
Haven't earned it yet.
But no. Why are you not going to thank me?
Haven't earned it yet.
How much was bail in China, guys? How much did it cost to get bailed out?
I would also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
I'm not swerving that corner.
It was unfortunate. You know, you're talking about very long prison sentences. They do not play games.
Swerving that corner. Whoa.
If we get flagged for that, I'm going to be pissed. LeVar Ball was, I understand that people don't like him. I understand. Big Baller Brand may have caused Lonzo, those shoes may have caused Lonzo some problems with his knees that he's been dealing with throughout the course of his career, which is something that has been alleged not by people, but by Lonzo. The LiAngelo scandal with China. I think a lot of people forget that from the first Trump administration is one of the most ridiculous stories of my lifetime, especially given the family that it was involved. And so LeVar Ball talking as Chris Cuomo, now fired CNN anchor, has talked about, did you ever think that you would be here discussing geopolitics on CNN? LeVar Ball singing the thank you song is one of my favorite sports moments of all time. Now, that's probably not the direction that you went. If you were looking for some more wholesome, I see some support for Taylor Lewan as your favorite sports dad. Kobe is a really good one. Obviously, the I'm blanking on Venus and Serena's dad's name. What was I did watch that movie with Will Smith doing that terrible accent, but I think he won an Oscar for that if I remember correctly. Either way, I can't remember. Damn, what was the dad's name in that movie? It doesn't matter, but I mean, it does. It's important. It was Richard Williams. Thank you. That's the only good thing that you've done.
That's the only helpful thing you've done. That's the only thing. Shit.
Tell people what you've been doing. Tell people what you've been doing while I'm trying to do a wholesome Father's Day show. Show them right now.
Chipotle.
No, it's not what I'm talking about.
Pokemon.
What is that? That's Pokemon. What are you trying to catch?
I'm not trying to catch him. He's in my way. Here, I'll show you guys.
You're in my way. Get off my screen. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what's distracting me while I'm trying to talk to you guys about whatever I'm talking about. Either way, mine's LeVar. I enjoyed the entertainment factor. Nolan says Bert looks like Hayden Hurst. Have you seen Hayden Hurst? Yeah. God, I cannot deal with him right now. Anyway, that feels like a good place to land the plane. We figured we'd keep it light tonight with not much going on in the there's a ton going on in the world of sports actually, but not much going on in the world of the Titans. But we will have more discussions. We will have more player interviews and things like that in the coming weeks for you. We're going to have a lot of good stuff going on. Radio show tomorrow is going to be fun. We'll have Ramon Foster hanging out with us at 10:20. I haven't gotten a chance to talk about this Aaron Rodgers or Shamar Stewart story, which is insane. My Pacers choked it away on Friday night, and we are going to talk a little bit about the NBA Finals because they have been very, very compelling. Also, the hockey has been insane. Fun time in the sports calendar. So make sure you're hanging out on the radio show from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. We appreciate you guys as always. And like I said earlier, have a happy Father's Day. Which defensive player stands to benefit most from the coaching change? Poipol Neupel. Bert, I know you're laughing as hard at that as I am.